I was house sitting for my friend, and my older son was home with our dog. And he called me up and said, something is really wrong with Piper. She's not eating. She is really lethargic. And so I was like, okay. So I called the emergency vet. Turns out she was a diabetic. I didn't know that, but she was in a diabetic crisis, and she was like knocking on death's door. Obviously, it's super stressful. Like, she's part of our family. This was on the 27th of July of 2022. She's in the vet, and 2 days later is when I have my cardiac arrest. I don't really remember the day as a whole. I remember the morning. I remember I went to work like a normal day. I work at the credit union. I had a member who I had put on a home equity application for, and he was in the branch with his mom, and so I was sitting at my desk, and I guess I just kind of like slumped in my chair. I just remember when I woke up, I was so confused. I was in a medically induced coma, so it happened on Friday through Saturday evening, and I am so incredibly fortunate because that kid's mom was a nurse. If that woman hadn't been sitting at my desk, I would not be sitting here today. She started CPR right away. The first responders got there. They shocked me twice, got me back, my heart beating. I was breathing on my own when they put me in the ambulance. So I was in the hospital for a week, which I think is pretty remarkable because I know a lot of people who have spent far more time in the hospital after something like that. I left there with an internal defibrillator, and the rest is pretty much history. This thing happened, what are we gonna do about it? Reliant as a whole is such a good company to work for, and they have offered us CPR training. I am very fortunate to all of the people that signed up for that after my incident. My biggest takeaway from all of this, I think everybody should know CPR. Hopefully you know it and you never are in a situation where you have to use it. What a great thing to be the person, to be the reason that somebody is still there for their kids, is still there for their family, for their friends, for anybody. I would like to say that it has made me like more positive and like more like live every day, but it hasn't because I was already doing all of that. I've always been a positive person. So to me, I'm always gonna take the positives away. Like when I think about having the ICD, although I don't love the fact that I have it, I love knowing that it's there. I will be good to go. My poor girl did pass away in January. She was my girl. When I had my interrogation this year, I was asking them questions about, what do you look at? She was like, well, I see this here. We have these irregular heartbeats on January 30th. And I started crying because that's the day my dog passed away. So I was like, I literally had a broken heart that day, and I was like, and you can see that like on my stuff? And she was like, yeah. As women, as moms, as people who work, all of the things that we do, it's important to take time to yourself. I think that women in general are people pleasers, and I think a lot of times you sacrifice parts of yourself to do that. I don't do that anymore. You shouldn't stress yourself out to accommodate everybody else. That's not fair. I am so much more aware of the fact that, women are less likely to receive bystander CPR. I would never have known that. I would never have known that when women are having issues that they don't take them seriously or as seriously as if a man was having the same issues. Up until this point, they found nothing wrong with my heart. So had I pushed, would they have found something? Maybe not, because I had this thing happen and they still haven't found anything. I feel very fortunate to be able to talk to people about this stuff now, because the people who are important to me and that I'm important to them, they are now learning all of these things that I am also learning.